Welcome to Musa Bytes. Here, we make complex technology simple and accessible for everyone.
All right, let's just jump right in. We hear so much about the risks of AI, and honestly, for good reason. It's important stuff. But what if we're only looking at one side of the coin? As Anthropic's CEO Dario Amodei says here, we might be seriously underestimating just how radically good the future could be with AI. So for the next few minutes, let's just hit pause on the doom and gloom. Let's ask a totally different question. What happens if we actually nail this? What does a world with powerful, safe AI look like when we get it right? That's the vision we're going to explore today. Okay, so to really understand this vision, we first need to lay down some ground rules. We need to define what we even mean by powerful AI. Because this isn't about the stuff you see in movies. It's about a very specific kind of capability. And this definition is absolutely key. We're not talking about a better chatbot here. We're talking about a system that's smarter than a Nobel Prize winner in really complex fields, like biology or engineering. An AI that you can give a really hard problem to, and it can work on its own for weeks to solve it, using all the same digital tools a human would. Now, here's a metaphor that really makes it click. It's not just one super genius AI. It's like having a whole country of these geniuses, millions of them, all running in a data center. They can all work together, collaborating on huge problems. I mean, can you imagine what an entire nation of Nobel laureates could get done? That's the kind of power we're talking about. So, if you have this country of geniuses ready to go, where do you point them first? Well, the first and maybe the most incredible impact would be on our health. This is where we could see progress like we've never seen before in human history. This brings us to this mind-blowing idea called the compressed 21st century. The theory is, instead of waiting decades for all the medical breakthroughs we're hoping for, what if we could get 50, even 100 years worth of progress all crammed into a single decade? The AI wouldn't just be crunching data. It'd be designing experiments, running simulations, and speeding up the whole scientific process from start to finish. So what does that look like in the real world? Well, take a look at this. It's a hypothetical timeline, of course, but it shows a world where the biggest, scariest diseases of our time are conquered not over generations, but in just a few years. It's a completely different way of thinking about what's possible for our health. I mean, the potential outcomes are just staggering. We're talking about ending most cancers, stopping Alzheimer's before it even starts, and fixing diseases that are literally written into our genes. This all points to this idea of biological freedom, where we have so much more control over our own bodies and health. And maybe the most radical idea of them all, a healthy human lifespan of 150 years. Now, I know, it sounds totally like science fiction, but think about this for a second. Our lifespan already almost doubled in the 20th century, thanks to things like sanitation and vaccines. So a second doubling, while it would happen for totally different reasons, isn't as crazy as it might first sound. Okay, this all sounds absolutely incredible, but it immediately brings up a huge critical question. Who gets to live in this amazing new future? Are these breakthroughs just going to make the world even more divided? And that brings us to the massive challenge of global equity. This is the question, isn't it? It's one thing to invent a cure for cancer. It's something else entirely to get that cure to the billions of people around the world who might need it. Because let's be real, the economic gap in the world today is massive. You can see it right here. A future where all this amazing tech only helps the people who are already well off, well, that's not a win. That's a huge moral failure. But here's the optimistic case. What if AI is the exact tool we need to close that gap? It could figure out the logistics to get new medicines everywhere. It could help guide economic policy to create unbelievable growth in the developing world. It could even spark a second green revolution in farming. The goal wouldn't just be to give aid, but to help the rest of the world actually catch up. So let's say we do it. We've tackled health, we're working on global equality, but that leaves one last really big philosophical question. In a world where AI can do almost any job better than a human, what do we do? What gives our lives meaning? This points to a fundamental change in how we think about our own purpose. Today, our value, our identity, is so often tied to our job. But in a world after work as we know it, we could refocus on what actually makes life worth living, our relationships, our communities, and our own journey of learning and growing. And this is really the heart of it. We already get so much meaning from things that have zero economic value, right? Playing with our kids, learning an instrument, just having a great conversation with a friend. A world with advanced AI wouldn't destroy that.
it might actually free us up to have so much more of it. But look, none of this is a guarantee. This amazing vision of a healthier, fairer, more meaningful world isn't just going to happen on its own. It's a possibility. It's a future that's worth fighting for. And that really leaves us with the biggest question of all. What are we, all of us, willing to do to build it?
That was today's bite from Musa Bites.